Live from New York, it's the show with the boss in the studio, and he's looking great.
You really choke.
You got a new
I get nervous.
You get, yeah.
Well, I'm not totally happy with it.
No, he's not. He's not. He's in the second one in a row.
I got to throw a little just for men in there. I look like a skunk. We did this question last week, and we were all wrong.
What were we all wrong about? What are you talking about?
What was that question?
Rams-Lions.
No, we weren't all wrong.
I was right.
I was wrong. Yeah, on that one,
I was right,
wrong.
too. I'm just trying to be a team player. Yes.
Okay. So, to zero it in on this game from this week, today's show, are we talking in reality or in the world the Bills occupy?
I thought it was a simple question.
So here's the thing.
Don't make it complicated.
In reality, unequivocally no. But in the world and conversation space that the Bills have occupied, obviously yes. Because the Bills and the discussion surrounding the Bills exists in a world where their 11-6 season and division championship is something to be feared, while their opponent, Kansas City's 11-6 season and division championship, is a bit of a failure. The Bills operate in a world where their 14-point wild card round win against a 10-win team sent shockwaves and fear throughout the rest of the league as this team continues to peak, while the Chiefs' 19-point win over an 11-win team in the wild card round was, what's the big deal? The Bills live in a world where their quarterbacks, 250 yards per game passing, made an MVP candidate, and Patrick Mahomes is 260 yards per game, and by the way, better passer rating, better touchdown interception ratio, all of those things.
He did those for 50.
Okay, well, again, if I may, but made him an MVP candidate while the other guy, what was wrong with him? The Bills also live in a world where they have the number 9 ranked defense in the league, and it's looked at as something that's good. While the Chiefs live in a world where they have the number 9 ranked offense in the league, and it's looked at as something that's broken. So in that world, of course the Bills are the favorite. Of course the Bills. That's why they are the now 3-time defending media champions. In reality, and luckily the games are played in reality, it's Sunday afternoon in Orchard Park, we'll see why they don't deserve to be favorites. But everybody thinks they're favorites because everybody thinks they're better. And people are frothing at the mouth to be able to get to the, is this game for the quarterback championship belt take? So, of course they deserve in that world, the world that they've operated in the last few months.
That was impressive.
What?
How you totally took it to bizarro world to make it seem like the Chiefs should be favored. There is no reason that the Kansas City Chiefs should be favored over the Bills. We're talking about this season.
Yeah.
With lifetime achievement, sure. They're the better team. Mahomes, this season, why? Why in the world would the Chiefs be favored? The Chiefs haven't played the better football over the last 2 months. The Chiefs got beat by this Buffalo team head-to-head. Buffalo has the home field advantage where they are very good. 8-2 at home, 4-4 on the road. So they got a little Cowboys syndrome going on where they're very good at home, so-so on the road. Their flops, what were their flops? Losing to the Patriots, losing to the Jets. On the road, their best wins, Dallas. They destroyed Dallas. Oh my! They destroyed Miami early in the season. Oh my! Put almost 50 on them. Happened at home. And look at Josh Allen at home. It's a huge difference just in him. TD to interception. The Josh Allen who throws it away, loses the ball all the time, fumbles also only 1 in 10 games. He doesn't exist in Buffalo. He exists somewhere else on the road. Team scores almost 29 points a game, much better than they do on the road. So, Nick, I'm sorry, just an objective observer looks at this, and there's no way you could say the Chiefs should be number 1 or favorite. And here's another reason. The Chiefs haven't beaten a playoff team that doesn't break dance.
Okay.
I'm saying they're 2-4 against. I know y'all thought they were coming in. They're 2-4 against playoff teams this year. The 2 wins, Miami. They haven't, and they only average 18 points against Green Bay, Philadelphia, Detroit, and Baltimore. So, on the other hand, Or it's not Baltimore. I can't read my writing.
Play Baltimore.
All right, but they only average 18 points a game against the 4 playoff teams that they've lost to. and I guess it's Buffalo. Buffalo's the other one. My fault. So there's no reason.
Okay.
Buffalo also 6-1 against playoff teams.
Yeah, go ahead, Wildes.
I've got 8 reasons. I asked Josh to come up with 10.
Yeah.
That Buffalo should be favored?
Yeah. At home, they're 8-1. They're the hotter team. They won Week 14. They got the best third down offense. They allowed the fewest sacks. Cook has gone over 100 yards in the last 6 games. Careless with the ball. Allen's got 20 passing touchdowns and 4 interceptions in the playoffs. And the Bills lead the NFL with 32 takeaways. With all that being said, I'm still going Chiefs, obviously.
Okay.
Obviously. It's still Patrick Mahomes.
No, Chiefs.
What are we doing?
Chiefs. We've seen him lose in the playoffs.
I'm still
but
going
we've
Patrick
never.
Mahomes,
So here's the thing. And we can show, we've seen Patrick Mahomes lose pre-Super Bowl in overtime twice. That is correct. We have seen him in those games be excellent. Yeah. Those numbers are cartoonish. In these two rounds, Brew, we actually have never seen him lose. We have not seen Patrick Mahomes lose in the first round or the second round. And if we can, Hubs, I don't know if we can jump ahead to the quarterbacks each guy's beaten. At some point we could show that. Here's the other part of it as far as deserve to be 2.5-point favorites. Yes, of course, history matters. Josh Allen has some amazing postseason stats.
Yeah.
His best postseason win is, of course, a loss. And the quarterbacks he's beaten, Lamar in a 17-3 game, I will give him credit in his first or second postseason win. Phillip Rivers on the Colts, then Mac Jones, Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson. Patrick, of course, has stared across the field from Josh Allen, beat him twice, Joe Burrow 1-1. Big Ben, Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, Tua, Luck, Deshaun, and then 2 bad players, Jimmy G and Ryan Tannehill. Jimmy G, of course, in the Super Bowl. So, Brew, this is all past history. Give me something this year
I'll give you something
tells
this year.
me
Who has the
they
better
should
defense?
be favored. Kansas City.
Who has the better coach?
Kansas City.
Who do you think has the better
Kansas
quarterback?
City has the better quarterback.
Okay.
So what?
So wait.
Wait a second. No.
You asked
the
me
Rams and the Lions. The Rams and the Lions.
That is right.
Who has the better quarterback?
You're right. And I got
the better
wrong.
coach.
I agree
the better
with all
defense.
that.
I'm just saying that's not proof. That doesn't mean you're going to win the game.
Wait, you asked me a question. I'm trying to answer it. Brew, here's the other part of it. Of course, it doesn't mean you're going to win the game, but you're asking me why they should be favored. You just said the Chiefs walk into this game with the better defense, I think by far, especially given Buffalo's injuries.
And they played through it pretty well.
The better quarterback, even though Josh is very good, the better coach.
Absolutely.
I think running back is a push. Do you agree? James Cook, Isaiah Pacheco?
I think it's a push.
It's a push. I think tight end, I actually would say right now is probably a push because Kelsey has not been himself. And wide receiver 1 over the last 3 months.
How about wide receiver core?
Wide receiver core is Buffalo has it better, but I think that we would have thought going into this game that the gap between Diggs and Rashee Rice was massive. Oh, we can show that too. Over the course of the entire season, it's closer than you'd think. Over the course of the last 3 months, it's actually, we can show it to you, it's actually not close.
No, you're not.
Nick, no one thinks Rashee Rice. Nobody's taking him over Stephon Diggs. Then you throw in Shakir.
So that's where I think the argument style here is a little bit of whack-a-mole. Why is no one taking Rashee Rice over Stephon Diggs?
The same reason we're not taking Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly.
Because the numbers recently say one guy's much better, but we know historically the other guy's much better.
Pause, though, for a second. It's history. So either we're allowed to bring in history or we're not. And as far as Josh Allen's numbers, you're wrong. Josh Allen does not have better passing numbers than Mahomes in anything.
Yeah, but he's not just a passer.
Right, no, I understand. So we're talking about the running aspect of it. The running numbers are excellent. I don't disagree with that. But rating, completion percentage, yards per game, touchdown interception ratio, it's even though we feel like Mahomes had a down year and Allen had this amazing year, the passing numbers are not based on history.
But Nick,
they're based
that's
on
like saying Lamar.
Based on the season.
That's like taking running from Lamar. If you take that out of the equation, sure. And obviously Mahomes is a better quarterback. I mean, someone try to argue Allen. I'm not that guy.
Correct.
Mahomes is better. This year, it can be argued that Allen had a better year. No question about it. And they're the hotter team, as you said. What have they won? 7 of their last 8?
They've won 6 in a row. Yeah, I mean, they were 6 and 6, and they won 6 in a row.
Okay, you love that?
Well, he's the best quarterback in the league. I mean, he's obviously not. I mean, I debated whether or not we should put Dalton Kincaid on the bulletin board. Hubs talked me out of it. He said he has to say it about his teammate, and I said I don't do that.
You would agree with that?
No, if someone, I wouldn't.
I mean, it's close enough. And I don't even think. But Josh is a good enough player where your teammates going to say.
I don't know. If I were in that spot, I wouldn't say like Kevin Wildes is the best studio host in the world. I'd be like top 2, him and Ernie Johnson.
For the record, Wildes,
like that's what I would say. You know what I mean? Like at some point, like there's somebody that's clearly above. But go ahead. What's the question here, Wildes? I don't think it was. Do I like that?
Oh, sorry.
It's a very different conversation piece that we're trying to have.
This is why I'm not the best. By the idea that this is the biggest game of Josh Allen's career.
I think by far. I think it's unequivocally top 2. The only argument you could make is the AFC title game in the 2020 season, but that was such a different spot. That was a Bills team that was ahead of schedule instead of behind. They were playing the defending champs. Mm-hmm. That Chiefs team had won, do the math here, 20 of 21 games going into that game that Mahomes had played, or 22 of 23, something insane. And the Chiefs were the favorites.
And it was in Kansas City.
And it was in Kansas City. Now, after that game, the GM Brandon Beane said, we are obsessed with the Chiefs. We are building our offseason around beating them. You then got your shot the next year and had as soul-crushing of a round 2 loss as possible. Then the next year fell apart before you got your shot. Now you're at home. It's a Chiefs team that is, of the Mahomes era, statistically the most vulnerable. And these windows don't stay open forever. So I think that this is far and away the biggest game of Allen's career. And I think that is a huge edge for Kansas City, because it's the 3rd biggest game the Chiefs have played in the last 365 days. And so the game against Burrow in the AFC title game was a huge spot, and obviously the Super Bowl. So, yes, I think it's the biggest game of his career.
I agree with Nick, but to me, if you don't reach a Super Bowl, every player that has not reached a Super Bowl, the biggest game of your career is your next playoff game. That's it. I mean, for Joe Burrow, who's reached the Super Bowl, this wouldn't be the biggest game of his career, even though he hasn't won one. So Josh Allen, the championship game against the Chiefs was huge, but he has to get to the Super Bowl. Period. So this is the biggest game of his career. And guess what? If they win this game, next week's game will be the biggest of his career. Until you win the Super Bowl, that's how it works in my mind. The next playoff game is the biggest of your career.
But you're also hinting that this pressure is going to squeeze Josh Allen, even though they've been in kind of these little must-wins for a while. They've been in playoff mode for
I think it's very different.
2 months now.
I think that the fact that I oddly think their success in the regular season against the Chiefs psychologically can work against you. I think it's like, wait, we own this team in the regular season, and in the playoffs we've never beaten them. I think the fact that there is, aside from Von Miller and Leonard Floyd and a couple other guys on the team, nobody's played in bigger games than this one can hurt them. I think the fact that Sean McDermott and Andy Reid has played in 15. Coached in, Super Bowls or conference championship games. Sean McDermott's coached in 1. And the other, and I think that's where being at home can be a weird spot, because you can feel if the Chiefs get out to 7-0, that is going to be a nervous energy in Orchard Park.
You think so?
That is not there on the road. I have felt
14,
it.
Maybe
10-0, 7-0 with the ball, something like that. So your buddy and my pretend internet friend, but your actual friend, Bill Simmons, gave a cross-sport analogy that I want to bounce off Brew. If the Bills lose this game, Dominique Wilkins' Hawks, which was, gosh darn it, man, they should be able to break through. And I know they never even made a conference championship game, but there's also he had the epic round 2 duel where he might have outplayed Bird, but they lost. They didn't lose to Bird every year. They lost to the Pistons, they lost to the Sixers, lost to other teams. But this Hall of Famer, unicorn, maybe most fun player to watch in the league, who just couldn't break through for a whole era. And you've said previously that, at some point, Allen's going to beat Mahomes in the playoffs. At some point, maybe if they don't win this one, maybe not. Because you don't know how many opportunities you're going to get. They didn't get the opportunity last year. Like, does that land with you at all?
I think that's a great comparison, no doubt. I mean, Dominique, we all look at him as one of the greatest players of that era.
Yep.
And he was a clear Hall of Famer. And that, you're right, that could be Josh Allen. What I've said about Allen is his window is the prime of his career. The window with this group is not. I mean, they need to win tomorrow and then see what they can do against Baltimore.
Can we stay here for another moment?
Sure.
Let's just operate under the assumption the Chiefs win and then lose to Baltimore, right? And that Baltimore then goes. Or the Chiefs win and lose to Houston, and Houston then goes. The point that I'm making is we in the media, right or wrong, has viewed this Chiefs-Bills as the top dogs of the AFC. The Chiefs obviously have earned that spot. Mm-hmm. The Bengals leapfrogged the Bills and beat them in the playoffs, and then had a bad year. Quarterback got hurt. If then another team beats the Chiefs that isn't the Bills after the Chiefs beat the Bills, you could go into next year's thinking, all right, in the AFC, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. They're going to be there to a degree, but Baltimore just got to the Super Bowl. Cincinnati has played them tougher in the playoffs than Buffalo has, or like all those things. The point is, in this conference, that whole this is going to be the rivalry, that can change quick, especially if the Chiefs beat them again.
I don't think that's the rivalry, like the only rivalry. And if Baltimore wins the Super Bowl, or gets to the Super Bowl, I don't think it's as negative for Buffalo as if Houston. If Houston does, now you've got another team. Because next year we start the season, Kansas City, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Buffalo, presumably. But now you got to throw Houston in there if they even get to the conference championship.
Okay.
So,
All right, so spinning it forward, Brew, what's at stake for the Bills if they come up short? I know you talked about the Chiefs winning, but the other side of the ball.
I think that Sean McDermott, if they lose this game, I think they have to seriously look at replacing him. I mean, they are S-Bob, period. And he said it himself when he put the Lombardi Trophy banner of it in their practice facility. All right, and he's a good coach. What he's done in Buffalo is great. And to be honest, this season, he's a defensive guy. What he's done with that defense in light of all the injuries is impressive. But my point is kind of what Nick's been saying. If you don't beat Kansas City this year, when their offense is worse than we've ever seen it with Mahomes and Reed, when are you going? And you got them at home in Buffalo where you're really good.
Sure.
When are you going to beat them? I think you would need a culture change. You would need a new coach to come in there. And you got some good ones available. Belichick, Mike Vrabel. I think they would need to make a coaching change because it would just be like, we're just spinning our wheels here. We're going to be good, but we're not going to get over that team, let alone the other ones.
So I think they are going to lose, and I do not think they're going to replace McDermott, which is why I said last week the best thing for them would have been to lose to Pittsburgh, because I do think they need a seismic shift. I know Wildes, you and I got a little sideways yesterday. I don't know if it was on or off the air. I felt like we were arguing all day. It was really unfortunate about the idea of coaches being penalized for success and then one instance of failure rather than just sustained mediocrity. And that's just, I don't view it that way. I view it more as I judge coaches based on what are fair expectations for the talent of the roster and where are you achieving in line with that. So, I can be impressed by a 7-10 coaching job, in a year, and thought that a 11-6 job by Sirianni was a total failure. If you're McDermott, the question would become, if not now, when? What is the plan other than hope somebody beats them for us?
Yeah. Right.
And that's not a fair spot.
You know what else? Having a Super Bowl in the past helps too. Because if McDermott had a Super Bowl in the past, he'd be fine. Like Mike Tomlin, I don't think it should be a discussion whether he should lose his job because he's got the Super Bowl and they're good every year.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.